That's it. That's all. I'm sharing with you so that you can look at your own situation and hopefully see, okay, I need to work on things, or okay, it's time for me to unpack this pain that I'm carrying around. Well, today we're going to talk a little bit more about trusting God and trusting and working on, again, time passes with intention, developing relationships. And it doesn't always have to be at a church. Church makes it easy and fun, in my opinion. And I was not. Let me remind people. I am a mom of a 21-year-old young man, and he burst into this world early, and we didn't have any kind of church or any kind of circle of support in that way when he was born, and even in his early years. And it was really hard because if I'd had what we have now, I can't say what the story would have been like, but I certainly would have had more support, more people praying over us, and I take that again very seriously. And it just would have been a different situation, at least for myself. And who's the most important person in this story here, ladies, gentlemen, that are special needs parents and primary caregivers, possibly, that are listening? Who's the most important person? You're constantly reminded on the airplane, again, that whole reference to who do we need to put the mask on first if something happens and the plane goes down? Yourself. You need to take care of yourself first, and then you take care of your son or daughter, your child, or sibling, or whomever you're taking care of in caregiving. Without you, without me, I certainly know the ship's going down. The ship's going down. If I'm not well and stable and so emotionally, physically, spiritually, if I'm not well, my son's going to feel that. He's going to react to that. We've talked about how in tune he is, and a lot of people on the spectrum are, with your emotions and feelings and so on. So if I'm not doing well, he's not doing well. If I'm anxious and overly stressed, he's stressed out and trying to figure out what the heck's going on. What's going on with mom? He may not verbalize that. He's older now and he can verbalize a lot of different things, but he may not know how to just say that. And so I'm here to remind you, yes, it's 2026 and I'm excited about it. 2026. I'm very excited about the new year, but I'm going to be real here. My show is about being open and honest and have the difficult conversations around caregiving and parenthood in terms of disability and all the things that we do and don't do and feel guilty for, and we're not spending enough time and we're not doing enough and all that. You're doing enough. I'm here to tell you, you're doing enough. You're doing plenty. Take a moment and breathe and take some credit for that, because that's important to also acknowledge you're doing enough. And if you're looking for that I know I'm bouncing around here, but it's intentional. If you're looking for that pat on the back from someone else, you may never get that. I know from experience, you don't always get it, especially from the people that you're seeking it out from, which is probably maybe your partner, your spouse. They're also in their head, or they're also on autopilot. They're working their butts off to try and make sure that things are working smoothly and going, right? And we've got the job and we've got security and we're putting away the money for the private school or the therapies and all this stuff, right? Medical bills, all of it. They're trying to keep it going. And I'm not saying that they're the only ones responsible for this, but because to me, it's always a partnership, no matter what the situation was, and no matter whether you got divorced or not. That is irrelevant here. It's a partnership. If you're not working as a partnership with your spouse or partner, then something's wrong and you need to reevaluate that. So put that aside. I'm saying you may not be getting the thank you or the recognition. I'm sorry. You may never get that. You're going to have to find that within, or from a friend, or a circle of support within your mom's groups or your PTA group at school. I'm using PTA loosely. I never found that within our PTA in public school. I found some people through that network that are fantastic friends. And, shout out to the people I met in Brentfield that were wonderful to me in the early years. And that was really tough, really hard. But I have made friends on my own, not as part of that group per se. But I'm just saying, find your tribe, find your people, because they're the ones that are going to keep you, sustain you as far as, yeah. Okay, Lisa, you're doing great. Keep going. Or when you're really down and you're having like the worst day, you need to be able to call somebody, reach out to somebody. And I know, let me pause there. People are going to say, well, I do have that, Gina, and I have that in my Facebook groups, and I'm on all these autism groups and yada yada. And I'm like, okay, that's a start. That's good in some ways for the research part of it, and to kind of, again, being very cautious about who you're taking advice from. I speak from experience. There's sometimes too much shared in those groups, and you need to be cautious and protect yourselves, not just for privacy reasons, but also like there are people that are not specialists or professionals on there giving advice or giving their own take on things, whether it be health-wise, medical, social service-wise, on Medicaid and Medicaid waivers and special needs trusts and so on, all these things that are part of our world. You need to be sure you're in the right group, and the moderator of that group is professional and doing a good job in making sure that doesn't go off the rails. I'll just say that. So back to the support. Like, that's critical in our lives. It's been critical for me. But as your child ages and grows and matures and hopefully gains some skills, open yourselves up, because what really is going to help you and sustain you, and what in terms of faith has really just, it's been beautiful for me, and I couldn't speak to it until now, is leaning on those that are not in this trenches. We call it trenches, right? Leaning on my friends and my circle of friends, small group of friends that are super dedicated and super wonderful, that are not autism parents, that are not in this world, because they have a perspective and they have something that I can't get from the groups on Facebook, that I can't get from the circles of people that I see at the school or at the therapies or at the Special Olympics, basketball, golf, etc., right? All these wonderful things. And I'm not discounting the value of those, but as far as making sure you're covered for your own emotional and mental and all the health, your support system, I want you to think this year, if you're not doing it already, in 2026, think outside the box and start expanding your reach and expanding your circles, because that's what's going to sustain you, especially as your child grows into a young adulthood and on. And, we're not getting any younger, myself included. So it goes through my mind. I'm just like, okay, I need to shift. And it's been wonderful too. Sorry, I'm getting over this cold. What's been really wonderful too is taking advice from the opposite side, the dads. Shout out to the dads. The dads that are coaching my son's activities, the dads that are teaching my son karate, the dads that are out there doing whatever, like volunteering for different things, right? And we have also, in golf, we have several dads of 30-year-old, 35-year-old individuals that have been playing for a while. And so they have a perspective that I want to tap into that. They have a really valuable place in my world right now, especially since my son is 21 and aging. I love you guys. I love the people with younger kids, and I've spent a lot of my time over the last really 2 decades of advocating and being involved in a lot of different things in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and getting people the resources and help that they need to help them, not passing down the torch, but like turning back around and helping people, because I felt like I needed so much and I didn't have that support. So I just felt it was kind of my duty. Nobody told me to do this. I just thought this is the right thing to do. I'm going to turn around and help the younger people, the people that are getting with newly diagnosed kids, and so on and so forth, and just like preschool, the PPCD, preschool for children with disabilities in Dallas. It's called different things in other states, but that preschool era, when they're age 3 to 5, and then the kindergarten and the first grade and so on, elementary school. Like I was helping those individuals and those moms, and I just wanted to be there to as a source of support. Like, hey, call me if you have a problem or you need whatever. You need to hook up with a wonderful speech therapist, or you just want to talk, or we want to get in touch with the TACA group or the North Texas Association of National Association for Autism. You know, all the wonderful groups that we have here in North Texas. So I get off base here a little bit, but what I'm saying is I hope you get the gist. You need more. I needed more than just autism, parents. Like, that was depressing, to be honest. I'm just going to say it straight up. There's some people there that are just kind of stuck. And this goes back to my grief. You're stuck. And we're all kind of just spinning and circling. And some of us are not getting enough sleep. And some of us are not doing well on the health side. Even our health is tanking. I know my health did immediately after the divorce as well, where I had to take, I had 2 more back surgeries. Ridiculous. I've had 3 total. That spinal fusion I told everybody about from the car accident last week, which was not optional. But then I had a herniated disc, which I didn't know that's what it was, and I didn't know I had nerve damage and pain running down my leg all the way to my right side, all the way to my big toe, and I had fallout from that too, because I was walking around like, oh, I just pulled something. I'm going to be okay. I'm taking my Chinese herbs. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm seeing all the people that were maintaining me for my, my body work from the previous stuff. But my point being, like, you need to take care of yourself. These kids aren't only going to do as well as we do, and you need the support. You just do. If you don't believe me, you're going to run into it at some point. It's more valuable to just do it now. In 2026, expand your network. Do it now. I promise you, it's going to give you different perspective. You're going to get maybe some tips or things that you never thought about, especially as your child is aging. You want to always be kind of one step ahead. Not too far. But in my opinion, like, that helped a lot. And I was always like, okay, he's getting to this age. Okay, he's in high school now. Okay, what do I need to do? And he was in, like, really, it was all depending on who met him at the door. There's no perfect panacea for the school or the this or the ISD. No, it was who met him at the door. And we had wonderful teachers in his high school. And we had wonderful aides who I'm still, like, connected to online. And shout out to them if they're listening. Like, I love you guys. By the way, you're listening to Confessions of a Special Needs Mom, and I'm Gina Waterman. We're going to take a short break here, and we're going to come back because I've been talking a lot. But we're going to take a short break and come back.
All our tears have reached the sea. Part of you will live in me, way down deep inside my heart. The days keep coming without fail. Is gonna find your sail. That's where your journey starts. You'll find better love, strong as it ever was, deep as a river runs, warm as the morning sun. Please remember me. Just like down by the shore. We're gonna keep on coming back for more, 'cause we don't ever wanna stop. Out in this brave new world you see, oh, the valleys and the peaks, and I can see you on the top. You'll find better love, strong as it ever was, deep as a river runs, warm as the morning sun. Please remember me. Remember me when you're out walking, when snow falls high outside your door, late at night when you're not sleeping, and moonlight falls across your floor. When I can't hurt you anymore, you'll find better love, strong as it ever was, deep as a river runs, warm as the morning sun. Please remember me. Please remember me.
Okay, you're listening to Confessions of a Special Needs Mom, and I'm Gina Waterman. Thanks for coming back. I was just briefly talking about leaning into your faith, growing your network beyond autism parents or Down syndrome parents or whatever it is the disability of your child is. Really leaning into support and other levels of support. I think it's really important for our kids ultimately, because whatever we're doing for ourselves, they're going to benefit. And if we have unhealthy habits, guess what's going to happen? They're going to also experience that. All right. So if you've been following us, we've been talking about the grief recovery method and the whole aspect of grief and loss as it goes beyond the more standard or normal ones that people think of: death, divorce, career loss, pet loss, any relationship breakups. And as special needs parents, we're experiencing grief. We're all walking around with it, maybe not knowing what it is, maybe not being able to name it, but I was brought to this work and found that, okay, that like this is fantastic. This program helped me so much deal with the layers of accumulated grief and the deaths and all the things that I was holding on to since I was 15 years old. Like that's how far back we go. We go to your first, we go as far back in terms of the program. One of the first things we do is look at, just put it on paper, the losses over your lifetime. So whatever your first memory is that comes to you. For me, it was age 5, and I was going to say what it actually was, but it doesn't matter what it actually was. I think it was the age 5, being bit by a dog and being scared of this huge dog. Of course, I was little girls, right? So I don't remember how big the dog really was, but it was huge to me at that age. And so, and it was when we were living in Queens, New York. So that was on my chart as the first memory of something. And that's not really a loss per se. However, it is a loss of trust There are different losses. There's over 40 of them that the Institute has identified in the course of the work. And this program, again, I want to remind our listeners, it is evidence-based, and it is the only thing that got me to the other side as far as healing from not only the deaths that I experienced, again, from age 15, losing my Uncle Jay, who was significant man in my life, and my brother, mother, father, eventually, and so on. Divorce, was with him for 25 years. I recently had another breakup with a man who I thought I was going to marry, and that didn't work out. And that was a fairly long-term relationship, processing that. So, like, those are significant things. I didn't realize at the time, but after taking the program and getting certified in 2019, that this is huge, and I'm carrying around weight of the world with respect to my son. And I used this prop last week. I don't know if you were watching last week. My son was a preemie, and he was 4 pounds. And he was about the size of this little monkey. So I had been carrying around this just as a visual reminder of all the things of him as a baby, the NICU experience, being there for 5 weeks. This is my only son, only child, the preterm, I wasn't healed from my major car accident, all those things, just a bundle of junk I was carrying around with me that I hadn't processed. And that emotional pain is from all that stuff. And then it just went one thing after another after another. He had, they identified he needed to have surgery. He had an arachnoid cyst in his brain. And so at 15 months, there we were, getting scans and me trying to calm down. If you could visualize this, I'm just going to go there because, again, these are things that we're carrying around. You may have other things, and they may not be as traumatic as what I'm going to share with you, but it's not a comparison game. This is not where I'm here to illustrate this, just to show you the grief that I was experiencing and why this is so important to process and get it out. Because if you don't, it's going to come out in unhealthy ways. But there I was. I visualize it, and I've been in this situation. We had CT scans and MRIs. We had to have MRIs done for, the neurologist followed my son for 7 years until we were cleared, right? So it's a long time. But I was in that MRI machine, and for those of you that are doctors, nurses, or in the space of a hospital, you work in a hospital, you know what those are and how noisy those are. They give you the earplugs to, like, drown out some of the sound, but they do not help. I'm sorry. I don't know about the technology, but man, it's still loud. And I've had myself been in those machines for when I had my back's issues. So I experienced it on both ends, being the patient and being the mom with my son in the MRI machine, like trying to hold him and just calm him down as best as I could, like it's going to be over soon, and talking to him and saying the Lord's Prayer and just like praying to God, like this is going to get done quickly so we can get out of here and we can get the results that they need. And oh my God, just don't move. You know, all the things that we do as parents, that's what I was doing. His dad was there. I was the one. I took it upon myself to calm him down and to also, can you just imagine, like, I can't even imagine. If Kenneth was able to tell us what he remembers from that experience, maybe someday he will. I'm sure it's not going to be good. It's not going to be fun, but that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about that creates emotional pain and memories, and it's still there. I haven't processed that particular thing at all, but I'm just like those things accumulate, and that's what you need to kind of process. And the Grief Recovery Program method will help you to do that. You have to do it with a specialist. You can't do it by yourself. You can read the book. The book's available on Amazon. We were just talking to Angelo, my tech, about it. It's on Amazon. You can get it, read it. It's a quick read, but you really need to work with a specialist on it so we can guide you and walk through. It's 7 weeks on average for a one-on-one, but just walk you through and get out some of that stuff. And you're going to feel freer. You are. And it's going to be transformative. It was for me. So I use that as an example. That's just one. But there's so many like chapters and little stages and little the milestones that weren't met. Gosh. The milestones that weren't met. I remember at Mother's Day weekend, it was at my sister-in-law's house, and big foyer she had, and he took his first steps. He was like 2 years old. It took him that long. Just a huge, significant milestone for us. But yet, we were reminded, as a lot of you are listening, you're reminded of the things that they don't do. We're reminded constantly. It's a beatdown, right? It's a beatdown. We're reminded constantly at school. Our kids go to school from age 3, as I said. Most of them are getting there early, so we can do the early intervention. My son was followed by the early intervention people that came to our house when he was a baby, like the whole shebang, the whole enchilada, as Rosa used to say. That, like all that stuff, grief, sorrow, unmet hopes, dreams, expectations, all that stuff is just like weighing on me. It's weighing on his father. It's weighing on the grandpa. It's weighing on all the aunts and uncles and everybody that sees him. And they're like, oh, I know. It was hard. They get to come and visit. They didn't know what to say, or they didn't know how to say it, or they wanted to make sure that, we don't want to make her sad. This is another thing that people do and individuals do out in the world. Let's do better. And I'm saying this again as G, not the grief recovery specialist, but I kind of as both. I'm toggling that line. Guys, let's do better and just be honest. Grieving people, whether either grieving a death or the death of what could have been, right? With our sons or daughters or whatever the situation is. What could have been, what we thought was going to happen, what we thought they were going to do at this age. Be honest and just listen to that person who is experiencing that grief, and just let them tell you what they need, or what, like, just having an ear and somebody to listen to me at that stage of the game would have been like 100% better than what had actually happened, which was people avoiding and dancing around it and trying to distract me, and let's go do this and let's go do that, and let's, whatever it was, so that I didn't feel, so that I could numb those feelings. And that's not healthy. And that's what I learned in the grief recovery program, like all the things that we've done and we do to not feel, to just numb the pain. What do? We call them short-term energy relieving behaviors, STIRBs, in our program. We watch too much TV or Netflix. We drink too much, eat too much, spend way too much money. Retail therapy. It's a joke, right? In our circles. Some of my own friends joke about it. I have joked about it in the past, but it's not a joke. I know of an individual in our community, unfortunately, that has shared publicly in a space of, I think she shared publicly that she got into some serious debt from just shopping, right? To the tune of, was it $60,000, $40,000? Like a lot, a lot of money. So we shop too much. We all kinds of stuff. Pornography, affairs, emotional affairs, physical affairs, like the whole thing, right? And we do these things, or we spend too much time on the computer. We work late. We go to the gym at all hours. We avoid going home. And ladies, gentlemen, I'm not blaming any side. I'm saying, like, if this is you, again, 2026, this is a year to do something different and do something better for yourselves, because it's going to impact your kids and your family. If you're avoiding going home, male or female, caregiver primary or not, and you don't want to go home because you don't want to deal with it. You don't want to deal with the shit. Sorry, I'm just going to speak frankly here. You don't want to deal with it. Guess what? It's not healthy, and it's not good for you. And your marriage or your relationship, your whatever situationship, it's not going to survive. You're not going to survive long. That's a short-term thing. Been there, done that. And who wants to live like that, by the way, as your child ages? Who wants to be in that situation where, it's his job. He's got to work, blah, blah, or he's got to travel, blah, blah. And I'm using he. I'm not blaming men. I'm just using it as an example because I'm a woman. I'm a heterosexual woman, so I'm using that as an example. that, yeah, they're traveling, whatever. But when it comes to the point where they are avoiding coming home or they'd rather be doing something else, you might want to look at that. You might want to look at that and have, like, do some work on that. That's all I'm going to say. Because it is going to come out. It's going to result in, and I don't want that for you. I don't want that for you. I don't want divorce for you. I don't want all the stuff that comes with that too. So you're listening to Confessions of a Special Needs Mom. I'm Gina Waterman, and I have notes on here about, New Year, healed you, and just recapping the different type of losses that we've talked about. And the best thing we can do is show up for our kids and show our kids what it's like to grieve and to lose something, like crying in front of them. You'd be surprised how many people don't actually let their kids see them cry. And one of the things that I am proud of, and it was even before this program, but this gave me some definition and parameters to put it in, right? With my son, who, as I shared with you, he's on the spectrum, doesn't have a lot of verbal ability when he was younger, and things really started to fall apart at age 7 for us as a couple. We didn't divorce then, but that's when I realized, okay, I've got to do something really, really different here, because it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable, and my health is suffering because of this, right? And my son's health is going to suffer. So all that said, that whenever I would get a little squirrely, that's what I'm going to call it, or sad, and I'm at the dinner table, or I'm wherever we are, like usually it's when we're home and whatever, and I start to tear up or well up or cry, and instead of stopping myself, he'd be looking at me like didn't know what to say, or he would say something, and then he'd be like, okay, is it registering in him? What is he thinking? And you don't need to go very deep. These are our kids. Like, just be simple, and in terms of, especially in terms of loss. And that's a whole nother topic. I've shared with you that when children grieve, we have a program and a book that you can read, and it helps facilitate those discussions with our kids. It's not specific to special needs, but it's a start. And if you need more resources with that, I have resources. So email me at movingpastgrief@gmail.com. So back to the story. I would just keep it simple and short. And as he's gotten older, he'd be like, Mommy's crying. Mommy is sad. And I'd be like, yes, Kenneth, yes, I'm sad. I'm just dealing with blah, blah, blah. And it's normal. Normalize it, guys. Normalize crying and tears, just as we normalize laughter and joy. If we lived in a world that we could cry openly as we can laugh, like, imagine what life would be like. Imagine the load that we could take off, right? And if people didn't shy away from it or be skirting around it, or don't want to upset her, don't want to upset him. Her mom just died. Okay. Maybe we shouldn't go over there now, or maybe we should invite her, or maybe we shouldn't, blah, 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 blah. Stop doing that. It's not healthy, and it's not helping your friend. It's not helping her. Let her be. Invite her to the thing. Invite her to the dinner. You don't have to make any brand anything. Just listen to her. Allow her the space. If she wants to share, let her share. Nobody's asking her to share because they're all avoiding it. Let her share. It's up to her. And, don't just assume that she doesn't want to talk about it, or she's going to be sad. Of course she's going to be sad. Let her be sad. And if she decides she doesn't want to cry in front of somebody and she wants to excuse herself, then let her do that. But don't let her isolate. Don't let your friends isolate, okay? That's really important and critical. I'm telling you, it's not healthy, and it's not helping your friends. And we're here to help one another, right? Back to our faith. We're not created to live in isolation. We're not created to grieve alone. And that is what we are taught as kids. And I want to change that. I want to be part of that change. As a grief recovery specialist, as a special needs mom, as a woman, as a person who feels passionately about this, and just again, expanding and not contracting. We can do this, but it takes all of us to be, little at a time, baby steps. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? Baby steps, and just rewiring and changing that script so that when you do have someone in your circle, whether it's a close friend, it's a family member, it's a mom or dad at school that you see, and you run into them at Kroger. This happened to me, by the way, when my son was young and just entered Brentfield. I ran into another mom, not a special needs mom, in the grocery store. I was a wreck. I don't think I had slept for more than, 4 hours that night. I was a wreck, and I was just trying to get in the grocery store, get what I needed, and get the hell out of there, right? There's some days where you just got to get in and get out. I didn't have my son with me. I just dropped him off at school. She saw me. She stopped. She said, "Hi, Gina. Is your son blah, blah, blah? Isn't he in the blah, blah, blah program?" And I go, "Yeah." I didn't really want to talk to her. If she's listening, she's going to remember this. I'm not going to tell her who it is. But I was like, yeah. I didn't want to talk. But she continued. And it was just amazing. Like, that's what I needed that day. I didn't realize I needed it, but she interjected. And you know what? That was divine intervention right there. Like, I'm not a believer in this coincidence. It's a divine intervention when these things happen. We are still friends today. She has 2 beautiful daughters in college. We are still friends today from my old neighborhood. So, and she's been, to my son's baptism. She's been a really loyal friend and beautiful friend for years. And I treasure her friendship. And again, not a special needs mom. So we'll leave it at that. We can do better. Neglect is weighing you down. I have some other notes here. Peace during the holidays and school breaks. Take some time for yourselves. Please do it. Don't think it's being selfish to take time for yourself. And I'm talking beyond the typical things, getting your nails done, getting your hair done. All those things are necessary and wonderful. And I want you to do those things too. But I'm talking beyond that and getting to the exercise classes. Those are good things to do, but I'm talking beyond the emotional health, taking care of yourself, getting to the medical doctors and getting to the doctor's visits, taking good care of yourself, taking your vitamins. It's so weird how we just meticulously take care of our kids' stuff, and as moms, I can't speak for the dads, but I know a lot of moms have shared this, meticulously putting this and that and the other, and okay, we got to do this, and we're on this program, and we have to do this and eliminate this from their diet, and da 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 da. And even traveling, I'd be like everything was set up for him, everything. If we would travel anywhere, even in even if it was a road trip, I would have everything set up, and yet there I was, not taking my own stuff or not caring about what was going in my own body. The neglect. It's going to come out at some point, guys. So I don't want that for you. I want you to take care of yourselves because the kids are going to do better, period. Community versus isolating. We talked about this for yourself, for your loved ones. Getting out of the house. Okay, this is a big one. Out of your rut. Routines? Yes, we need routines. Absolutely. But once in a while, you can get off that routine. And this is what I love about one of his instructors on outside activity. They used to take some dedicated time off with their kids and, just do the things for Christmas and winter break. And it was lovely because, again, it depends on your situation and what you think your child can tolerate. I'm not saying go off the rails completely, but once in a while, getting off that routine, it's healthy and it's nice. And everybody enjoys that. For a day or two, have pajama day. Make pancakes. Do whatever they want to do. We do that regularly. Okay, Kenneth, is this what you want to do? His whole happiness, I'm not kidding, even at his older age, he just loves spending time together at home. We just watched, there were times we wouldn't do it every single day, but just pajama day, making those pancakes, making his hot cocoa with the whipped cream in there. He'd just be and now he can do it all himself. I got him this little Keurig for Christmas, the single serve size, for the college dorms. It's a tiny thing. And I was like, this is yours. This is yours. I'm not using this. This is all for you. So whatever brings them joy, focus on that. And it's going to bring you joy. I just want to remind you that it's huge. And we're coming off this season with the winter break. We're coming into a new year. You can't make all these changes in one full sweep. I know that. You know that. But little at a time, guys. It's going to help. I promise you. And I just want everyone to feel better, to really, and I'm not saying that lightly, like feel lighter. It's transformative. If you want to do something big this year and different, it's going to have a major impact of your on your life on all aspects, cuz grief goes through everything, guys. And you've heard me say this before. It affects your relationships at work, with your boss, with your colleagues. It affects your friendships. It affects your romantic encounters. It affects, your spouse, your partner, your in-laws, your sister, brother. Being, we just went through major holidays at the dinner table, Thanksgiving and Christmas for us in the States, like that. That's when it all comes out. All that stuff that you're holding on to. That's when it all appears. Weddings, funerals, anniversaries, all that stuff comes out. It seeps out in unhealthy ways. So, like, if you really want to make an impact, focus on your emotional health this year. I'm not saying that other stuff isn't important. Obviously, it is. The physical and getting to jazzercise and getting to the do the weights and whatever it is for you, right? Karate, martial arts, basketball, pickleball. It's not now a thing for all our middle-aged listeners. Pickleball. I never thought. There's this person that I never thought would play pickleball, and there he is playing pickleball. Oh, gosh. So just managing that stuff, guys. I want to definitely keep you away from, I can't control anything, but if I can have some influence on getting you healthier, then I think I've done a good job. And also, if I can lead you to the right tools, if you're already working with a counselor or a therapist, lead them to the grief recovery program. Let them use that with you. Like it'll be good. And also, if I can keep you out of divorce court, I don't say that lightly. I think it sounds like a joke, but I'm serious. Like, divorce is expensive. It takes a toll on you emotionally, physically, mentally, the whole thing. It and your kids, the fallout of that. Jeez, I'm telling you. And there's people I know that have gone through 2 or 3. No. N-O. I don't want that for you. And I'll just finish with that in terms of the divorce. I didn't actually pull the statistics. I'm sorry. Probably because I'm not one to lean on that because that wasn't our story. There's a statistic out there in the special needs community about, divorce rate and da-da-da. You've seen people on their individual fan pages and people that you might follow in our community that are like, the divorce rate is so high. It's already high enough in the regular general public, but then for us, it's skyrocketing, right? Well, you have to take that with a grain of salt. And I'm here to say, in terms of my story, the autism really didn't have anything to do with my divorce or the reason we broke down. It was already had cracks. We already had multiple cracks coming into that in 2018, 2019. And I don't want to share too much because I don't want to get into that. That's private. But there was a point, I'll just say, like even before I had a child, that thought crossed my head. So, and I'm talking just from my experience. This is my story. It crossed my head. So the cracks were there. Like, thank God we didn't do that. I didn't do that. We went to some kind of, if anybody's familiar with the Imago program, or it's like a couples workshop. I did it in when I lived in Houston, and it was fantastic. It actually was really good. Very good. Good stuff. Juicy. And it helped a lot. But as with anything else, just with the grief recovery program, you have to maintain it and you have to work on those skills. This doesn't happen magically. It's not one and done. And Kenneth's always like, one and done? I'm like, yeah, one and done. Because he will have a tendency to repeat himself. So that phrase is always in his head. When he says it, it makes me chuckle. One and done. It's not one and done. You have to maintain. Same thing with grief recovery program. Same thing with, most things, right? You have to keep working at it. And that's what life is. And that's what life is with our kids. So I hope you've enjoyed our talk today about just all the things. But I was trying to lean in a little bit more on the faith topic today. And all the tools and all the people surround yourself with people who are going to help you, and also maybe again look at a few years ahead. So getting connected to people, and we have tons of people in our networks, right? Especially in North Texas. I'm extremely grateful for being here when this happened because, as I said before, we have a really great network and resources here in North Texas, more so than any of the other Texas cities. I'm sorry, we do. I've researched it. I've done a lot of legwork because I was ready to move back south and realized like they don't have this, they don't have that, they don't have, you know, all the things that my son was needing and using when he was young. I was like, okay, I guess we're staying. So that said, I lost my train of thought, but like really, really the best thing you could do, I think, and we want to help you heal your heart. We call ourselves, we say in our work at the Grief Recovery Institute, we are a heart with ears. We want to walk alongside you and heal your heart from whatever is breaking it and whatever has broken it into a million pieces today. We want to help you. So I'm Gina Waterman. This is Confessions of a Special Needs Mom, and I'm here every Tuesday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I would love to hear some topics for shows, future shows, if you'd like to share with me, movingpastgrief@gmail.com, or make a comment below if you're watching online. Let me know that you're here, and I really appreciate everybody tuning in. I love you guys, and have a good week. I'll see you next week.
When it all goes crazy and the thrill is gone, the days get rainy and the nights get long. When you get that feeling you were born to lose, staring at your ceiling, thinking of your blues. When there's so much trouble that you wanna cry, the world has crumbled and you don't know why. When your hopes
Hey, how you doing? This is Ed Gray of the Commish Radio Show. Stay tuned and tune in and be up to speed on everything in social justice, human rights, and politics on the Commish Radio Show, airing every Saturday, 5 p.m. on the Fishbowl Radio Network.